Hello. In our opening clip, we defined prayer in the clearest, simplest way possible, I think, and that is as relationship with God, more specifically as communication moment in that relationship, either with words, thoughts, or images. We call that vocal prayer, or without, or as least possible without words, thoughts, and images, and we call that silent prayer or contemplative prayer. And by the way, that definition comes from Tony DeMello in his book Sadhana. I'd like to talk about and begin to lead us into silent prayer. And for that, I think the best definition is communion with God in the silence of the heart. That comes from Martin Laird in his book Into the Silent Land. Communion with God in the silence of the heart. You know, there's a great illusion going around this world, especially here in the West, and that is that we are separate from God. But I'd like to ask you to think a moment to realize that that is not true, that that is an illusion. Think of this fact: I am, but I need not be. Let it sink in. I am, but I need not be. There is no necessity that I be. There is no way that I can hold myself in being. I am, in other words, a creature, but we seldom stop and be aware of that. We must be held every moment, every nanosecond in being for us to be. So we could not be separate from the source of our being. We have to be held in being. It's just like a river must be connected with the source. Otherwise, it no longer can be a river. And that's the truth with us. We are always, always in union with God. Another way of looking at it is this way. We say God is love. It's God's second name, as I would like to say. And love is always loving the beloved. Take a parent always loving their child. Even if that child does something the parent despises or is very, very sad about, still they do not withdraw the love if they have been able to come to unconditional love of their child. Well, God loves us, perfectly loving, without any conditions loves us. And if we do something wrong, something that is despicable, God does not separate from us. God is hurt by what we do, believe it or not, just as the parents are hurt if the child does something wrong. But God does not separate from the child. God does not separate from us, because God is love. So that is the truth. That is getting beyond the illusion. Unfortunately, we live in the illusion of separation. We feel separated. But the truth is, we cannot be separated from the love that has brought us into being and holds us in being every moment. Awareness of that truth is what we are referring to with silent prayer. Communion with God, experience of the communion with God in the silence of the heart. The heart means the very center of our being, and it's through silence that we come into this awareness of the reality. And that is what I would like to talk about next time and begin to enter into with you the practice of silence so that we can be experiencing what we are talking about.